Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is another paid request, this time from Douglas. First off, sorry about the background noise. That's how it is in the middle of nowhere. You don't get roosters and chickens and stuff coming in to the audio, so sorry for that. Number two, thanks Douglas. For anyone that wants to request any type of videos, PayPal's usually the best bet, or join my Patreon. Links are in the info box where it's at. It could be for a topic, tier list, commentary, movie review, any type of review, commentary, video game let's try, a playthrough, whatever the case. And this time we're talking about Undeclared War, which I had never heard of, but it came out in 1990. I thought it was pretty good. Like, this was a nice surprise. It's directed by Ringo Lam. One of his Hong Kong films. This is before he did Jean-Claude Van Damme films like Maximum Risk, Replicant, In Hell, which I liked all three of those. I think Maximum Risk is pretty underrated. In Hell is a good dramatic role for Van Damme. Replicant, pretty damn decent. Some good stunt work in there. Got Michael Rooker as well. But this one, it stars, and the cast was interesting. You got Danny Lee, who was in John Woo's The Killer, the original one, not the woke one they're making now. He was Inframan, which I remember as a kid. I got the Blu-ray over here of Inframan. And he's been quite a few stuff as well. You have Vernon Wells, Bennett from Commando. He's your bad guy here as a terrorist. I'm like, damn, Vernon Wells is in there? Like, he was also in The Road Warrior. Olivia Hussey, who was in the original Black Christmas. She was in this film I liked called Turkey Shoot. She's in this as the girlfriend of Vernon Wells' character. And then you have, I would say he's more the lead, the CIA guy, played by Peter Liapis. I'm like, this guy seems so familiar. And I'm like, oh shit. It's the guy from Ghoulies. The lead guy in Ghoulies. Now, I don't like Ghoulies, but I don't mind him as an actor. So it was kind of cool to see him in a different role. And I thought he actually did a pretty good job. I actually liked him in this role. And I liked some of the banter he had with Danny Lee's character. I will say, though, Peter is more the lead. That's one of the few issues I had with it. I wish Danny Lee had a bit more to do. Now, don't get me wrong, Danny Lee's in it throughout the film. He does a couple things, but it's definitely more of Peter having stuff to do. So, again, I do wish Danny Lee had a bit more to do. But it's an action film, but I don't want to make it seem like it's a John Woo film. So there's not a lot of fisticuffs. There's not a lot of gonzo shootouts. There's some, though. But it's not nearly, just don't think it's John Woo. It's, Ringo Lam. So it's more of a cops going after terrorists. That's the plot of the movie. I will say it opens up with a bang. Literally. I'm like, okay, here we go. All cylinders, all aboard. I almost don't want to give it away. I would say this. If you like Hong Kong action thrillers, at one point there's a pretty good boat chase later on. The ending I thought was satisfying. I like the way it looks. Like it came out in 1990, but it has that 80s look, and the score has a very moody score. At times the score kind of sounds like a horror film in a good way. The lighting felt like natural lighting, and it just has a good look to it. And it moves at a good pace. It is never too boring. And, there's good little spots of action throughout it. There's one bit where two of our characters, there's a grenade, and they jump out the window, and they hang out the window on the side of a building, hang on this bamboo, almost like it was Rush Hour 2. Which, of course, Rush Hour 2 was many years after. I'm like, did someone, Rush Hour 2, ever see this movie? Does that one bit, it's not the exact same bit, but just remind me a little bit of it. And it's definitely violent. There are people that are getting shot in the head. There's people getting shot, and you see this red mist of blood. One of the guys working for Vernon Wells is Mars, who's a guy that's worked with Jackie Chan a lot and among other stuff, other people. So he's in the film as, I guess you would say, a henchman. Like I said, if you're not going to get a lot of fisticuffs fighting. You did a little bit, but not a whole lot. But again, there is variety. A lot of grenade usage. I will say there's a lot of grenade usage. I mean, when people get shot, they do use blood squibs. Like I said, is this the way the film was shot? The way it looked? The actors involved? The pacing? I thought this was a nice surprise. I thought it was a pretty good film. So to get more into spoilers, when I talk about the opening, Peter Liapis' character, I'm bad with names of the characters, so I'll just say their real name. Like I said, he's a CIA guy, and I believe it's his sister getting married. Oh no, not getting married. Her and was it his sister? Maybe it wasn't his sister. Was it? I know this ambassador and her are getting their kid baptized. And while they're getting the kid baptized in this church, people pretend to be nuns or whatever, and they pull out their guns and they shoot the hell out of everybody. You know, people getting shot and blood-red mist is coming about. Uh, Peter's able to shoot one, the others are able to shoot the others. The lady's been killed, they're getting the ambassador out. But on top of that, the ambassador's holding the baby. Peter's like, okay, you're safe here. He's talking around, and then someone comes by the window and shoots the ambassador right in the head. And then throws a grenade, and Peter can't do anything, so he's got to get out of the way, and the car blows up, and the baby was in the damn car. I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, this is a way to open up a movie? I mean, and then the bad guys get away from in the helicopter, and Peter's shooting at it. I'm like, okay, this is a way to establish how vile the villains are, especially Vernon Wells, and of course Vernon Wells is able to play that very well. He could play that in his sleep, a villain. Like, Vernon Wells is always a great choice for a villain. Now, I'm not going to say this is up there with Commando or The Road Warrior for characters, but it's still nice to see him in there. So, of course, Peter's much more adamant to try to get this terrorist guy, and now they've gone to Hong Kong, where Danny Lee is with his partner, and they're on this stakeout somewhere. I do like this bit where his partner is sleeping, so Danny takes a cigarette and puts it in the guy's mouth. So he breathes in. He chokes on it. I thought, like, little moments like that I thought were pretty funny. But then they realize something's up. There's a bit of a shootout. And I think it's like a funeral parlor. Like, there's a shootout. And again, good practical squibs among other stuff. And they're able to arrest Olivia Hussey. Now, Olivia Hussey, she doesn't really know the vile stuff Vernon Wells is doing. She thinks this is more for a good cause. Granted, I would think she would have heard that a baby was killed, and maybe that would have gave her a bit of pause. But she's the one that's like, no, don't kill innocent people, especially when you don't have to. They arrest her. Peter's CIA guy comes in, says you need to release her, use her as bait. People in Hong Kong say no. They fight, they squabble. I did like the line that one of them says, "You sound like your president, Mr. George Bullshit." So it's either Peter being adamant to try to find out what's going on, get in the way, Danny Lee's way, kind of their squabbling, back and forth banter. You lose something? Yeah, a pain in the ass. And looked at the other guy. There's some foot chases. Peter's trying to chase the Vernon Wells, but then Mars stops him. There's a little bit of a fight where Peter's literally using a bicycle to block the guy and then get the guy off. And really nice high fall. Good stunt work in that. There's a bit where Daniel Lee and Peter brawl. So it's like a barroom brawl, and then it takes it outside. They find out where perhaps some of these bad guys are at. So they go in this building where there's grenade traps, and they go out the window, and there's a shootout here, and Daniel Lee helps out and saves Peter. And like, again, throughout the film, there's some shootouts. There's a really good boat chase where they're really bumping into each other, going back and forth. Really good stunt work in this. And Danny Lee's driving to that point. And it kind of has two finales, but they work well. One is this terrorist operation is going to happen, and Peter is able to find out where the bomb is able to shoot the guy. They stop Vernon Wells' plan. The men take Danny Lee hostage, but then he fights them off. The cops are getting shot up, but Danny and Peter shoot the other bad guys and chase after Vernon, and that's where you get the boat chase where Danny Lee's driving and so forth. Good explosions, good stunt work there. And then they think Vernon Wells is dead, but then he takes control of this TV station where you find out Danny Lee's partner is on the take and betrays them, but is able to talk him down. And pretty much they're struggling against Vernon Wells. And a good death for the bad guy. One handcuffs the guy and raises the platform while the other gets a grenade and goes, "Guess what? The war is over." Puts a grenade in his suit. Where the guy raises up, he blows up. I'm like, that's a good way to kill your bad guy. And that's what I mean. It did enough cool little fun moments that made it an entertaining experience. Like I said, going into this blind was definitely the better way to do it. That's why I said spoilers. That's why I said at the beginning of the film. Like I said, one of my only critiques is I wish Danny Lee had a bit more to do. Maybe I guess because I thought this was a Hong Kong film. It is a Hong Kong film, but I just assumed that Danny Lee would be more of the focus. He'd be more doing more. So I was actually surprised that Peter had more to do. That it was kind of more focused on him. But at the same time, I wouldn't say it's brutal, but at times it is violent, well shot, well paced, entertaining movie. I thought it was pretty good. So I definitely, if you like Hong Kong action films, yeah, it would have been nice to see a bit more fisticuffs. That'd always be welcomed. But yeah, I don't really find much other faults with it. I I think this did get a Blu-ray. It might be Vinegar Syndrome. Might have released this. I think. Let me double check. Don't quote me on that. I got my phone here. That'd be worth picking up one day. So, sorry, I just want to double check. Yep, it is Vinegar Syndrome. So I would definitely recommend that. That's a pretty good one. Granted, Vinegar Syndrome, I don't really buy. I mean, I guess there's other places you could buy their stuff from. It just, their stuff is way too expensive. At least from their site. And of course, I have no data on the phone, so this is being very slow. I would want to see what all was on it feature-wise. Let's see. Brand new commentary with film historian. Brand new interview with actor Vernon Wells. Interview with composer. Ah, just 2 interviews, huh? And a commentary from a historian. I'm surprised Peter Liapis, he wouldn't talk about the film. I mean, dude, I'm sure you're tired of people talking about ghoulies. So, I'm surprised that he wouldn't talk about it. Only 344 left in stock. So there you go. At least of this recording. Also did not mind Rosamund Kwan. I believe that's her name. She was this reporter who is friendly with Danny Lee, and she becomes very prevalent in the third act of the film. I didn't mind her as well. She was a likable person. I do think it was kind of the right choice where I think what made the film work too is it pretty much stuck with the case at hand. It didn't really delve into tangents of Danny Lee's home life or Peter's home life or relationship troubles or relationship issues or girlfriend issues or home life issues. It was all strictly with the case at hand. So they were either in the police office or out on the streets, or we see a bit of Vernon Wells or the action. So I think that definitely helped with the pace in the film. So maybe you want maybe you're not getting a whole lot of character development, but I still liked the characters. Peter, it did surprise me because, like I said, I'm not a fan of Ghoulies. I actually prefer Ghoulies 2 and 3 more. He's in Ghoulies 1 and 4, and I think those are the worst of that franchise. Yeah, I like 2 and 3 more. But I thought he was actually pretty good in this. And in Danny Lee, you actually get to hear him speak English, which I don't think I heard before in the other films he was in. So that was nice to hear that. I thought they worked fairly well together. We'll like to see even more of them together. Like I said, and give Danny Lee a bit more to do. But with that said, yeah, I thought this was a nice surprise of a film. So thanks for watching. Take care. And we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.